The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the webinar on how to become a successful paid school speaker sooner rather than later. Just a quick check before we get started, guys. Can you hear me okay? Let me know. Hello and welcome to the webinar on how to become a successful paid school speaker sooner rather than later. Can you hear me okay, guys? If you can just let me know, if you can indicate by raising your hand. There's a button on the right hand side there with the hand symbol in your control panel there. Brilliant. Chanel can hear me. Great. Is anybody else there? Just let me know you can hear me okay. I'm coming through okay. Awesome. Great, great, great. Fantastic. All right. Great to see so many of you on the call today, on the webinar. I'm going to be sharing with you how you can become a successful paid school speaker sooner rather than later. All right. So to begin with, our structure for today, a bit about myself. First of all, my name's Errol Lawson, based in Birmingham in the UK, and my company is called Emerge Leadership. And each year we go into around 50 different schools across the West Midlands, deliver workshops, coaching, speaking, mentoring to students from age 13 to 19 years old. I started back in 2010, and I'll share a bit of my story about how I started in a little while. But I started in 2010 with just one school. The following year, 5 schools, and then 10 schools the following year after that, then 20 schools. And over the years, it's just grown and grown and grown. And I find myself now traveling all over the UK, speaking to students, sharing my story, and being able to impact lives. I'm also an author. I've written 2 books. My first one's called From the Postcode to the Globe, a biographical, personal development, motivational book. And my second book called Teampreneur, How to Build a Business in Your Teens. That's a bit about myself. Then there's more info on my websites, errollawson.com and emerge-leadership.com. You can find out more there. So who's this webinar for today? This is for somebody out there who's thinking, you know what, I'd love to be able to stand in front of young people, share my story, inspire them, empower them, or even parents even, or even teachers, just to empower them and transform lives. And if you're that person, if you're listening, you're feeling that, you know, I really want to get into this. It's not for someone who's thinking, oh, maybe one day. It's someone who's really saying, you know, right now, I'm up for this. I want to impact lives. I want to go into schools. I want to speak to teachers, parents, or young people and really make a difference. If that's you today, then this webinar is just for you. At the end of our call today, we're going to do a Q&A. So if you've got any specific questions about how you can get into the school speaking business, you have a chance today to ask those questions and get some feedback right here on the webinar. And at the very end, I'll have a special offer for you. If you're really keen to get started right now, I've got a special offer for somebody out there who wants to get started. And hang on to the end of the webinar to find out more about what that special offer is. All right, let's go. You ready? I'm ready, man. Let's do this, people. Let's do this. All right. So, why do we need more school speakers? The first question I want to answer today. Why do we need more school speakers? Well, guys, here's the reality, right? Whenever I go into schools, it's often the case that the message that I'm sharing to students is often the same message that teachers are sharing all the time. Like, it's just that the fact that I'm a different face, a different person in there sharing the same message, it has a greater impact. School teachers are so bombarded with marking and with trying to meet Ofsted standards and trying to get all the students to a certain point by a certain time. And they haven't got time to really invest emotionally or open up and share stories with the students that are really going to impact their lives. So we need people from the outside to come in and to share their wisdom, share their inspiration, share their personal life stories, and really inspire the kids to move from where they are to where they can possibly be and realize their full potential. And so we need more people who have the time and the ability and the capacity to go into schools and really kind of just help these kids to develop these soft skills, these life skills that really make a difference in the lives of young people. That's what we need to do. All right. So we need more school speakers, guys. We need more of you. So here are the benefits and why I think speaking in schools is awesome. I absolutely love it. Like, I've been doing it for 6 years now straight. I absolutely love speaking in schools. Here's the first reason. There's something about fulfillment of purpose in it. Like I really believe that, me going into schools, I'm a Christian. I believe God has called me to impact lives. And me going into schools enables me to fulfill some of that purpose that's in me. I want to be able to transform a generation. I want to be able to impact lives. I want to be able to help young people to realize and fulfill their potential. I want to be able to cut across any kind of barriers and boundaries and really reach young people right out there where they are in schools. And I think I can make a big difference there. So for me, there's something about fulfillment of purpose in it. Maybe there's a similar reason for you as well. Secondly, you can make good money in schools. I've got friends. I mean, it ranges, right? Let's get the money thing out of the way early. It ranges from like you can earn from free to start off with, or anything up to. I've got friends that earn £1,600 a day. I've been paid £1,600 a day plus VAT, plus expenses, plus transport. Um, Thank God, I've got friends who get paid a lot more than that, and everything else in between. You can make good money if you're good at speaking. If you got a quality brand about you, you can make good money from speaking in schools. You can, it's true. Flexibility of time. As a school speaker, literally, like my days are my own, so I can choose how many days a week I work. Pretty much, I can choose when I work, who I work with. I don't have a boss. I'm not on a 9 to 5 contract. I've got some flexibility as to how I spend my time, how I use my time, because I'm in different schools, different days of the week, and so it gives you that sort of ability to do different things with your life, with your time, whether it's spend time with family or for me, it's writing books and it's growing my business and doing my ministry. So there's having being a school speaker gives you more time to do other things. You help kids grow. Yeah, these kids, wow, man, I tell you, I mean, just recently, I had a parent contact my mum randomly at the blue and say, "Hey, my son's at school right now, and your son Errol Lawson's working with my son, and he's really, really inspired, and Errol's really helping him." It's completely randomly, and it's just one example, and I get it all the time, like kids really, really appreciate the difference that we make to their lives. Us sharing our stories, sharing our time, our experiences with them, we genuinely get to help them grow. I have kids come back to me and say, even yesterday, a young guy came to me and said, Errol, oh, yeah, I'm starting that clothing line. Remember, I told you about, I'm gonna come back to you soon. And, you see the bits of progress over the time spent working with them. We genuinely get to help kids to grow, and that's cool, man. That's really cool. We get to make an impact doing what we love. All the school speakers that I know, they're doing what they love. They're speaking about what they love to do. It's their hobby, it's their interest, or it's their passion, or their topic, or their subject. It's what really matters to them. And you can do the same. You can make an impact on the lives of young people doing what you love to do as a paid professional school speaker. I think that is absolutely awesome for us to be able to do that. So, what are the challenges to be considered? Well, it isn't all roses and plain sailing, guys. There are some challenges that need to be considered in order to be a professional paid school speaker, all right? So here are just a few of them for you to consider. Number one, the bureaucracy. There's a lot of red tape at times. And so trying to get into a school, oftentimes there's you got to jump through hoops. There's sometimes you find that there's schools are they're being paid by the city council, and they're going to go through the council to get it authorized, and through that person to get it authorized, and it can take a long time sometimes to get a final decision. In fact, it's probably about 3 months from the point of first contact with the school until you actually get the deal done and get the work started. So sometimes it can be a lot of bureaucracy involved in trying to get decisions from teachers or from the school to get yourself in there. That can be a lot of work. Committees can be a challenge sometimes. But in some schools, they've got to go through the governors first of all and agree. You know what? Can we take this person? There's a presentation there. There's a proposal there, and so there's oftentimes a lot of people to go through in order to get that deal done, and that can be a bit frustrating at times. But you got to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally for that. There's a lot of legwork to do to get sales. You got to have some marketing skills. Hey, I've said it can take like 3 months, but in the first instance, you got to be willing to get out there. You got to be willing to make phone calls to phone teachers, phone schools, make inquiries. You got to get your website done, get your branding sorted out, get your marketing material, your brochure, get some videos up on your website. You got to get your message out there really clearly in the hands of people. So you got to just brace yourself or prepare yourself to say, you know what? If I'm going to do this right, I'm going to prepare myself, my marketing materials, and just my website, my brochure, make those phone calls, do some networking. It takes work. It doesn't just happen. You got to actually put some work in to get those sales and get that money to start coming in. When you get the money coming in, of course, you get some testimonials, you start to get some referrals happening, and before you know it, your business is starting to build. Teachers change hands, another consideration. Um, I've had some schools where, let's say, Mrs. Smith is the head teacher, and we got on really well. She's heard me speak, and she's got me booked in the school. And I've been there for a couple of years in a row, and we're doing really well. And then Mrs. Smith gets a new job somewhere else. Now, because my contact that I had in the school's gone, I've got to find another way to rebuild that relationship again because my person is no longer there. Teachers change hands. Now, there can be benefits to that. It can be benefits because sometimes teacher changes hands and they go to another school, which has happened before. They've gone to a completely different school and they've recommended me to their new school and got me into their new school. That can happen too. On the other side of it, sometimes there's a teacher in a school that you're trying to get into a certain school and that teacher's blocking you. You can't get in because she, for whatever reason, this person, him or her, is just blocking you. You can't get it past them, and just making it hard work for you. But when that person leaves, guess what? The doors can open as well. All right, so it works both ways. The teachers changing hands can be a challenge. Sometimes there's no money. As school speakers, we hear this an awful lot. You can have a school where I've had schools that every single year they've had me in there, and all of a sudden now the government changes its policies or cuts funding, and that funding affects all the schools. And now because they've cut funding in the schools, it means that actually there's no money for me again or to pay me to come into a school again. So sometimes the reality is that there's no money in the schools. The flip side to that again is that I found that even in schools where they say there's no money, if they really, really want you in the school, they'll find a way to get the money from somewhere, some way, somehow. They'll find that money from another part of money in the school somewhere else, and they'll do their best to get you in. All right. So it's a lot of times, yes, there's no money in schools, but I have genuinely found that even when they say there's no money, if they really want me in there, if my message and my benefit and my value is communicated to them clearly enough, they'll find a way to get that money and to get me in the school. They just will. Don't ask me how, they will. All right, so those are some of the things to be considered. And also, last one, schools can take a while to pay you, right? So massive challenge, I'm telling you. Oftentimes in public sector organizations where you have people who are kind of handling the accounts and the finances and not people who are necessarily business minded, they probably receive your invoice, put it on a shelf somewhere, say, yeah, we'll deal with that soon. And you'll find that I can phone back a month later and they've lost my invoice. That was sent like a month ago. Like, you've lost my invoice. Did no one want to tell me they lost my invoice? Like, they don't want to let me know that my invoice is not being processed. And so they kind of can handle it with a bit of levity. That happens a lot, believe me. So I find that I've got to literally be phoning schools. Like, once I've sent the invoice, I've phoned with a phone call every week sometimes to make sure they've processed my invoice so it's being paid. But that can be a bit frustrating at times. If you got bills paid at the end of the month or whatever have you, it's hard to budget sometimes because schools can really handle your invoice with levity. All right, so I've covered so far why it's awesome to be a school speaker, why I think it's the best thing in the world. I've also covered so far what some of the benefits are, and what the considerations are. So if you're thinking of doing it, things to bear in mind. Now then, here's how you're going to smash it as a school speaker. Those who are listening, here's some simple nuggets about how you can get started, get involved, and really make an impact as a school speaker even. Have a pen and paper handy, take some notes. There is a Q&A coming up at the end of the call today, all right? So those of you who have just arrived, there's a Q&A at the end. So how are you going to do it? How are you going to smash it as school speakers? Here's the list here. Number one, first of all, topic and story. All right. The most important thing you're going to have to do, guys, is figure out what your story is. Every single one of us has a story. And the thing that's going to make most of the impact is you sharing or telling your story. All right. Now, I learned this some years ago. I had a coach that helped me to discover my story. And my story is my core message. It's what people hire me for. It's what makes an impact, what I'm known for in schools. And here's what I do. Every single time I speak in a school, every single time I'll start with this. Let me share. I'll say, hi, my name is Errol Lawson. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. And my company is called Emerge Leadership, based here in the UK, also in Ghana, in Africa. We work in schools. We coach teachers and students to become effective leaders. What I love doing most of all is this. I love coming into schools and speaking to people your age, because when I was your age, my life was very, very different. Then I go into my story and I say, at age 11, my parents divorced and I went completely off the rails. I saw my dad go one way, my mum go another way. I was stuck in the middle and I handled it really, really badly. The emotional fallout of it, I didn't know how to handle it. I just began to go downhill. And at age 13, I started smoking weed and selling weed in school. Pause. Some will giggle, some will laugh. I'll say, not cool at all. Around the same time, at age 13, I was at home one Saturday morning and a letter arrived in the post and had my dad's handwriting on the front. And because it was dad's writing, I opened the letter like you'd open a Christmas present, full of like enthusiasm and just really wanted to see what dad was saying to me. And I opened the letter and it was dad saying, son, I've made some bad choices. I'm sorry. I'm in jail. I read that and I cried like a baby. Cried my eyes out. Didn't know how to handle it. Like my dad being in jail. Like my friend's dad's maybe, but my dad in jail. Couldn't handle it. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And that was the first time. Then it was the second time. And a third time. And a fourth time. And 5 times during my teenage years, my dad went in and out of jail. The first time I cried like a baby, but by the 5th time, man, it was actually quite cool because my friends on the road with me, they were like, "Yo, my dad's in jail, blood. My dad's in jail." Like, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm on this. I'm serious." And it gave me hype and it gave me credibility. It gave me status, and I jumped on the back of that hype and I lived up to it and got involved in gangs and drugs and all the rest of it. And it all came to a head at age 16 when I came home one day. My mum was at home, who's an amazing lady. And she says to me, son, I'm tired. I've got your younger siblings to think about. I'm smelling weed in the house, girls in the house. The police are coming here for you all the time. Son, I've had enough now. Enough is enough. You move out now, please. Find your own way. Do your own thing. She kicked me out of the house at age 16. Imagine that. Your age, 16 years old. I lived in a hostel for a while. I lived with family. I lived with friends. I moved around 12 different times between the ages of 16 and 19. My life was crazy back then. If you didn't know me then, you'd have been forgiven for thinking that he's going to end up in jail or end up dead or end up in a mental institution. That's how bad things were. However, I got to age 19 and things began to turn around drastically. And I'll tell a bit of the story of how it turned around there, and then I'll say, I go into my story and I link my story there. Long story short, I link my story there. So I've got them all gripped. Teachers are gripped at this point. Students are gripped at this point. They're all engaged. Every eye in that room is on me. Their breath is like they're holding their breath almost. They can't believe I'm the same person standing before them that's gone through all that stuff. Then I link my story to my 3 action points. I talk about lifting the lid on what's possible for you. lifting the lid on what you think is possible for your life. And I talk about three things: choosing the right friends, taking responsibility, and being courageous. And that's my keynote talk. I do that talking either I can do it in like 10 minutes, do it in 1 hour, hour and a half. I do a 6 week workshop based around that talk. I do so much 2 hour, half day workshop, full day workshop, literally all based around my story and my core message. All right. So I'm saying this to say, for you to smash it in this speaking game in schools, guys, you gotta not be afraid to tell your story. What not that nice and fluffy story, not that kind of cool and easy to handle story. That story of the worst time in your life and how you overcame that is the one that's going to actually give you that access to that audience. All right, so you're going to be able to do that and be willing to go there. And I can say so much more about story, but this is the key heart of it, guys. If you can get clear on what your story, your core message is, and package that effectively and be known for that thing. Like, I'm known for what I do. I'm known for helping kids to think positively, to turn their lives around, get the right attitude and mindset to overcome obstacles. Like, if you can get known for your message, man, you can change the world. You can change the world a bit. That's the key thing. Number two, you got to be prepared to do it for free. You got to be prepared to do it for free. Like, hey, when I first started, how I started? I was a youth pastor at a church in Aston in Birmingham, and I just decided that the school across the road from our church, I was going to contact them and find out if I could do some kind of volunteer work in the school at lunchtime, like a lunchtime club. And so I went into the school. We did a lunchtime club every week. We'd go in and we'd bring a Nintendo Wii and some games and board games, just hang out with the kids in the classroom. And then we do that every lunchtime and once a week, say. And then the teacher asked me, she said, Errol, can you would you mind doing some assemblies for us? Yeah, of course I can. I'd love to do assemblies for you. Like, yes. And I'd go in and do like a 5-10 minute assembly for free. I'd go in and I'd smash it. I just literally just, I was a youth pastor anyway, so I love speaking to kids. I'd go and do an inspirational assembly and just be like, wow, the kids loved it. Round of applause, standing ovation. Teachers loved it. And then she was like, Errol, hey, could you do like a leadership workshop for our year 8 students for us? Of course I can. Did it for free of charge again. And before you knew it, guys, I did it for free for so long. They said, Errol, actually, this is a good thing you're doing. We'll pay you for this. And before you knew it, guys, they'll pay. I was like, I can get paid to do this stuff. Like, I love to do. Like, I can get paid for this. They started paying me. And then a friend of mine who was in our church was also like a coordinator of a group of schools up in North Birmingham. And she said, hey, Errol, listen, I'm going to meet with a group of teachers soon. And do you want to come and pitch your work to these group of teachers? And I was like, yeah, love to. And I went into this meeting and I pitched my work to all these teachers. And out of the 12 schools there, 5 of the schools said, yes, come and do it for us. And they paid me again. All 5 schools paid me. And then the following year, I had 12 schools, and then it just grew like that. But it all started doing it for free. Point number 3 on my list again, guys, is the same thing. Be prepared to do it for free. Here's the thing, guys. If you speak more, you speak better. You got to find a way to put yourself in front of some audiences and speak for free. Give your talk, your message, the thing you want to do in schools, do it for free somewhere else as much as you can, whether it's in your church, in a youth group, in a nursing home, in some kind of lunchtime club somewhere. Just find a way, get your family and friends together in your living room and do it in front of them. However you got to do it, guys. Practice doing your talk for free, because the more you do it, the better you'll get, the more confident you'll get, and you're just gonna get better and better. All right, so that's so important. Like, in fact, let me say further. Even now, I do free stuff. I do a promotion from January to April, usually between January and April. Right, I write to all of my schools and say, guys, listen, I'm doing a free assembly for you guys, one free assembly for your year group, for one of your year groups, and 15 minutes between January and April this year. And what it does is they all book me up for a free assembly, but it keeps me in front of them. They remember who I am, what I stand for. I meet new teachers in the school. I meet new kids in the school, and the kids go and buy my books on Amazon. And I just begin to build my audience by doing free stuff in schools. So I will always do. I've got one tomorrow morning in the school. There you go. Yeah, be prepared to do it for free. Number 4 on my list here is be good. Hey guys, there are so many speakers out there who are, to be honest with you, that they leave a bad reputation for school speakers because sometimes they turn up late. They're not integral. They can't be, they're not reliable. And then when they come and deliver, they're not good quality. That they're rude to teachers. They're rude to the students. They can't handle bad behavior. You gotta be good at what you do. You gotta be good, man. And there's no shortcut for that. You gotta not just be passionate about it, you got to be skillful at it too. So practice and get good at speaking. Number 5, you got to try and get some marketing takeaways for the kids. All right. So, what do I have? I use, when I speak, I'll say to the kids, hey, if you want a free copy of my book, go to my Instagram page or my Twitter page or my Facebook page and message me, and I'll email you a copy of my book. That I do that for them. Um, just for you, it might be a worksheet you give away. It might be a link to a free download on your website. We'll have something for them to take away as a memorabilia of what experience they've had with you. All right, that's a really good thing to think about. It could be a wristband, whatever it might be, that they can take away as memorabilia. It's really really cool. CD. My friend does a free CD for students as well. Things like that. Write a book, man. I could have put this at the top of my list. When you writing a book is not all about having a business card, which is what has been said, and even I've said before. It's more than a business card. If I wanted a business card, I'd just get some business cards printed, wouldn't I? It's more than a business card. A book, it positions you as an authority in your area or niche. The thing that you are speaking about or specializing in. When you say I'm an author somewhere, you stand out from the crowd straight away. It says that this person has taken the time to study, prepare, put the work in, put the time in to create something that would add value to the lives of others. You're taken more seriously when you write something. Even if you write a blog, even. It, you see, back in the day, like, um, you'd have like, if you wanted a piece of land, say, you'd have like a title deed for your land, and you'd have like a document that said that you are the title deed bearer or owner of this land. It's your title deed. Now, in this new modern economy, the land is your niche that you operate in, and your title deed is your written work or material that you have that says that I own a piece of this land or this niche. So if your niche is parents or students or families or business or leadership, your writing material positions you as an authority in that niche. And so, for example, um, if you write a blog, even not just even a book, if you have a written blog that is being publicized, that position your niche, it could be a blog, it could be an article, it could be some papers you've written, and whatever it is it could be a podcast you have. All these things begin to position you as an authority in your chosen niche, right? So write something, write a book, but at least write something. Number 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is join a professional speaking club. Join a professional speaking club. I'm a member of the Professional Speakers Association, which is an international organization. I'm also a member of the Global Speakers Federation. Um, what have I gained from that? Well, I've been in there for maybe 3 years now. And what I've gained from that is a whole bunch of relationships with people who are also professional speakers from around the UK, whether they're black, white, young, old, where different topics. You'd be amazed to see how many people out there just like you right now who are doing it. They're no different than you are. They're no better than you are. They're no more gifted or qualified or talented than you are listening right now. Let me tell you, and I'm not joking. There's the people at every walk of life you can imagine, they're out there and they're speaking in schools for a living, and you can do it too. I'm telling you, you can do it too. And it's somewhere like the Professional Speaking Association where I've joined that I'll be able to connect with these like-minded people, build relationships, hear them speak, hear their stories, hear their journeys, learn tips from them, and links to my next point, which is connect with other school speakers. We have something called the School Speakers Hub. Every 2 or 3 months, we meet as school speakers in Birmingham here, and we get together and we have someone come in and speak to us maybe, or we have like a time we all share our challenges and what we're doing right now and lessons learned, and just learn from each other. So you want to connect with other school speakers. Highly recommend that to you. Last one is get a coach. This is something you have to do yourself, but you can't do it alone, guys. There's no shortcut to being a successful school speaker. In fact, every successful school speaker that I know has had a coach. Bottom line. They've had a coach that's coached them through the challenges, help them get clarity, build their confidence, develop their skills, motivate them, hold them accountable to getting stuff done. Like, you need to have somebody in your team, in your corner, to help you to get that job done, all right? There's no shortcut to it. No shortcut to it at all, all right? So you got to get a coach to help you. That's my recommendation to you. Get a coach to help you get through your next stage. All right, so I mentioned earlier, before we do our Q&A, I mentioned earlier a special offer for you, all right? So this is only for those that are serious about getting started as a professional paid school speaker. I said that you definitely need to get a coach. There's no question of it. I'm going to give you 30 minutes of free coaching for you to get started and help you build some traction in your school speaking business. How about that? A 30-minute coaching session to help you get started. This is only for those that are genuinely serious about getting started. If that's you today, if you're saying, you know what, I want to get started, simply drop me an email right now with the subject heading, ready to get started, and we'll book a one-on-one session for 30 minutes on Skype. We'll get a call set up right away. My email address is right there, all right? So a 30-minute free coaching session is going to help you get started and get yourself on that ladder and get started. I mean, I get asked all the time, guys. I've got coaching clients now who are working with me, amazing people. And why I say amazing people, because they're so passionate. Their stories, oh my Lord, when I hear their stories, I'm like, it's so amazing. And they're so passionate and committed to getting those stuff done. They're moving forward so quickly. And so, I mean, I do like 3 month or 6 month or 9 month or 12-month coaching programs with them. And they're just so on it. So I want you to get a taste of that and also help you get some traction in your coaching business by simply just drop me an email, put in the heading there, uh, ready to get started, and we'll set up a time to get coaching on Skype either this week or next week. Alrighty. Here's to your success, guys. Right, I'm going to hand over to you now for our Q&A time. Have you got a question? There's a box there. If you can, on your page, that gives you the opportunity to actually write a question on the page right there. So if you got a question, now's the time. Maybe a question about anything you've heard so far, anything you're not sure about, anything I've not answered for you in relation to school speaking. You can write your question right there in the box. Or if you want to raise your hand, I can unmute your mic and come straight to you. If you raise your hand again and unmute your mic, I will unmute your mic and bring you straight on the call. Okay, one question coming through. Let's see. Awesome. Okay, so Chanel, got your question, Chanel. Nice one. So the website for the School Speakers Hub, I think it'd be great for you, Chanel. It's a Facebook group. What I'll do is I will get that link to you. I don't have it to hand right now, but perhaps if you search on Facebook for the School Speakers Hub, you might find it there, the School Speakers Hub. But it's a Facebook group at the moment, and they post regularly in there. I'm not sure if it's members of the PSA only. I'm not sure, but I will find out for you offline as well. The School Speakers Hub. Cool. Anybody else? Any other questions, guys? You can raise your hand and I will unmute your call. You can ask a question live on the webinar here, or you can actually just put your question in the box on the page. Any other questions, people? Okay, Another question's coming here. Who is the first point of contact in a school? Okay, so it really depends who it is you are trying to reach. Yeah. And guys, let me say, guys, it's not what you know that makes it great. It's being able to ask the right questions. I really encourage you right now, if you're listening and you're thinking about getting to school, don't hesitate to ask those questions right now. All right, please, please. For you, I want to give you as much value as we can today. So, who's the first point of contact in the school? Okay, now it depends. So, for example, if I'm delivering something around business, I'll find the head of business studies. If I'm doing something around for year 11 students, I ask for the head of year 11. So it depends who your audience is and who the person with the most authority is in relation to your audience. All right. So what I'd do is I'd actually say to you, figure out if it's a certain target group or topic you're covering. You want to go for that person. Head teacher, I would never start there because to get through to them is you'll get the PA. First, you get the receptionist, then they'll send you to the head teacher's PA, who will kind of be a buffer block for you. And it's just really hard to get to the head teacher, and they don't always want to hear straight away anyway. So find the person who's got most authority in relation to the audience you want to speak to. Hope that helps. All right. Does that answer your question, Chanel? Should I unmute your mic? You got a couple of questions, Chanel. Should I unmute your mic? Is that all right if I unmute you? Might be easier. Cool. All right, let me unmute your mic. Hello. Chanel, can you hear me? Hello, Chanel, can you hear me? Okay. There's no sound there. Okay, no worries. Cool. Can't hear you there. Maybe you're on mute. Are you on mute, Chanel? Double check. Hello?
Hello, hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I think I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I'm
Yes. Brilliant. Got
okay.
ya, got ya, got ya. Awesome.
Okay,
Yes,
awesome.
so did I answer your question for you?
You did, and thank you for the information that you've shared so far. It's actually been really helpful. But you did answer my question because I thought that the first point of call would be the head teacher.
Yeah,
So you've just clarified that because you know how it is. Sometimes um, one small thing in your approach can completely derail the whole thing. And
yeah,
so just to know that it's not the best way to go to the head first is
yeah.
really interesting.
Brilliant.
So thanks for that.
No worries, no worries. Was there another question you had? Was-
Yeah, there was. Do you have like a generic proposal that, because once you've spoken to the people, once you've spoken to whoever you need to speak to,
Mhm.
I would imagine they ask you to follow it up with some sort of email
Yeah,
and does that normally consist of like a proposal, like a
mhm.
generic one that you tailor depending upon the school year you're
Absolutely does.
approaching?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
So I have a
okay,
proposal. So if anyone wants to see that proposal or an example of it, if you email me, I will send you an example of one of the proposals that I will send into a school. I'll send that to you. All right. No problem at all.
excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Excellent.
Cool. Any other questions? Okay. If you've got any more questions, just raise your hand again, Chanel, and I'll put you back into the call, yeah?
Thank you.
All right, no worries. Cool. I see another question here. I'm just unmuting you now, Mrs. Coyote. Hello, good evening. Mrs. Coyote, are you there? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Are you on mute? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Okay, let me just, I see a question typed in here. Let me go to this question here in the meantime. Okay, so question is, I've just been given an opportunity to speak to parents in a parents' coffee morning in a school. Can you suggest other areas I can speak to parents that will impact their roles in helping their children's development? Primary school. All right. So wow. So what some people are now doing in schools is parents workshops. And so, what a school might do is actually package or offer to parents a parent, and this is secondary and primary schools, a parents, and sometimes and schools will pay for these as well. A parents workshop where you might go into a school and maybe as part of a parents evening program or just a separate evening after school, parents are invited to come in and to attend a workshop or on parenting skills or whatever you might call it. That schools do parent workshops on things like cyberbullying, social media, homework and revision techniques are some of the things that schools do right now, but they're also willing to add to that other stuff if you can approach them in the right way. So it's just a matter of chatting to the school that you're working with right now. And I'd say to you, build that relationship right there in the school you're currently in, develop that, and just get an understanding of how the schools work, the language that they use, their their industry, how they communicate, how they relate, and then begin to get some testimonials from that school, a nice video testimonial if possible. If you go to my website, you'll see lots of video testimonials there from teachers and students. Get a nice video testimonial of the school saying how good your work is and let other people know about it. Use it as a referral and recommendation tool to get more work in the future. So build that relationship there and establish that in the same way I did with my first school. In fact, my first school, I'm now a governor in that school right now. I'm going back to that school tomorrow again. I'm still working there all these years, 6 years now. So build that relationship with that school there and get as much work in that school as you possibly can and use it as a launch pad and a platform to get work in more schools would be my advice and recommendation. So build that in that school. Yeah, definitely do that. Outside of that, there's churches, there's community groups, there's colleges perhaps, there's places where parents go, places where parents go. Hope that answers your questions, Coyote. Are there any more questions? Anybody else? Anybody else got a question before we go today? Really encourage you to get the most out of this by asking questions now. There's literally a couple more minutes remaining on the call today. All right, I see another hand raised. Chanel. Okay, let me see if I can unmute you, Chanel. Hello, Chanel, can you hear me? Chanel, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'm not too sure how to approach the idea of pricing. Now, I understand that you're going to have to do some things on a voluntary basis.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've fully understood what you said about that and building up momentum and relationships and a reputation and, clarifying your stories. They can add value to the school.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. So once you are at that point, though, I wouldn't know how to. Is there a particular scale? Like for instance, teachers are on a particular pay scale, so you sort of know where to pitch yourself when you're offered a new job. You sort of know
Mm-hmm.
what your salary ought to be. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if there's any sort of guideline for a school speaker. And I know you gave some parameters earlier on from
Mm-hmm.
voluntary all the way up to so and so an amount a day.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a certain amount that schools expect you to ask for? Do you know what I mean?
No, I would, and I'd encourage you not to have that mindset almost because you can pigeon yourself, you can box yourself in and limit yourself.
Right,
Schools will pay in a proportion to what they think the value is they're getting. So if you're good
right.
and they know you'll make a difference, they won't even question price. If you come for a referral recommendation, they won't even question price. But I think so. You have situations where the school will pay by per head, So depending on what you're
Yeah.
offering, they'll pay per head. And so um, you may have to ask them, it really depends. They'll pay per head on some occasions. But I think what I've learned about pricing is that when I started out, I maybe charge, I would have thought like 50, 75, £100 a day would have been great. But I didn't realize that people getting paid as much as they were. And it took me a long time to build the confidence to say, actually, for a full day, it's £850 or more than that. Do you know what I mean? And not
Yeah.
bat an eyelid. And it was
Yeah.
more about my confidence than it was about even whether I was good enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because schools are
Yeah.
willing to spend money. And
Mm.
when money, they're just willing to, if that's what they believe it will cost for that value and they believe it's good, they will spend money. They just will. And so it's more
Okay.
about your confidence to pitch at a certain price and say, this is what I cost, this is what it will cost for me. And then if they come back to you, negotiate down. And so there are a couple of cases where they've said to me, "Ooh, I can't really afford that," I'll say, "Oh, what can you do?" Um,
Yeah.
I'll talk with them, I negotiate with them. But you know,
Okay.
you can starting out, it is really about confidence. Schools will pay.
Yeah.
So I'd say to you, decide on your half day price, decide on your full day
Mhm.
price, and just pitch it at that price.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Thank
your
you.
half day, your full day price, and pitch it at that price. Just go for
Thank
it.
you.
Mm. Hope that helps.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Anybody else got a question? Got a question? Please raise your hand. Now unmute you. Literally got like 2 minutes left on the call. Last 2 minutes now. If there's anything else you want to ask or you're not sure about, now is the time. To help you build that school speaking business. Lift it, get it off the ground, start making an impact, sharing your story, transforming your community. Okay, right. If there's no more questions, guys, I'm gonna call it a wrap right there. Thank you so much for your time and for listening. If you're up for the 30-minute coaching call, all you gotta do is email me right now, and we'll get it set up. All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.